What if I told you that the very moment you whisper I want, you are secretly declaring I do not have? Think about it. You repeat affirmations, you write down your goals, you say them out loud with all your strength, and yet nothing changes. Why? Because behind the words, the field only hears the frequency you broadcast. And the frequency of wanting is never neutral. It is soaked in absence. It screams of emptiness. Have you ever wondered why hundreds of affirmations can leave you feeling even more hollow? You wake up, you write again, I have 1 billion. But where does it come from? From a heart filled with trust or from a mind drowning in debt? Each stroke of the pen does not echo abundance. It echoes fear. It echoes lack. And the universe is not fooled. The universe does not respond to your surface rituals. It responds to vibration. Listen closely. Motivation can be a trap. It feels like fire, it feels like drive, but underneath that fire is smoke that signals you do not yet believe. You tell yourself, I want success, I want freedom, I want wealth. But every time you say it, the hidden signal is louder. I don't have it. The words are powerless when the energy behind them contradicts the message. The truth is brutal. The energy behind the words is louder than the words themselves. You may smile, you may chant, you may visualize, but the field hears only your inner broadcast. And if that broadcast is empty, then emptiness is what returns to you. Imagine someone standing on a stage declaring to the crowd, I am confident. Their voice trembles, their hands shake, their eyes dart around the room. Do you believe their words, or do you feel the nervous energy underneath? Exactly. Words collapse, vibration reveals all. So, what about you when you affirm what is truly being affirmed? Is it wholeness, or is it the void? Do you see why results keep slipping away? Why every effort seems to vanish into nothing? The harder you push, the more you prove you do not yet have. Wanting is not power. Wanting is absence. And here lies the question you cannot ignore. How do you know when you are trapped in the vibration of wanting instead of the vibration of already having? Because the more you want, the more reality mirrors your lack. The cycle continues. The frustration deepens. The proof piles up, and you are left asking, why doesn't it work for me? But here's the secret. There is another way, beyond wanting, beyond affirming, a state where no contradiction exists. So what does being actually mean? Stay with me, because this is where the shift begins. Have you ever repeated the words, I am abundant, only to feel more hollow inside? You speak the mantra, you close your eyes, you hope the universe hears you. But instead of fullness, the emptiness echoes louder. Why? Because if your subconscious does not believe, the affirmation is nothing but a mirror reflecting back the void you're trying to escape. This is the hidden sabotage. You tell yourself, I deserve love. You whisper it every morning, every night. And yet, deep down, the quiet voice inside whispers something darker. I am not enough. Which voice do you think the field responds to? Not the one on your lips, but the one vibrating through your bones. Here is the brutal truth. When words fight against your state always wins. Think of it like this. A person says, I am confident. They rehearse it, they project it, they force it. But behind their eyes, fear trembles. Their energy betrays them. Do you feel their confidence, or do you sense their doubt? Exactly. The vibration never lies. So every time you repeat what you don't truly believe, you carve the wound deeper. Psychology calls it cognitive dissonance. NLP calls it incongruence. Energy calls it sabotage, because instead of lifting you higher, the mismatch drags you lower. The more you insist on words that contradict your truth, the louder the gap becomes. And here's the trap. You think you're aligning, but you're actually broadcasting lack. You think you're attracting, but you're pushing further away. The words become empty shells, and the universe does not answer shells. It answers essence. Have you felt it? That sinking frustration? The moment when you affirm with all your willpower, yet nothing happens? That is the signal of misalignment. That is the evidence that the field is responding, not to the sound of your voice, but to the signal behind it. So ask yourself, right now, when you affirm, what do you truly feel? Is there coherence or is there conflict? Do your words rise from abundance, or are they masks covering emptiness? Because here lies the secret. It is not the phrase that shapes reality. It is the state. Words can only amplify what already exists. If the state is lack, the affirmation amplifies lack. If the state is fullness, the affirmation amplifies fullness. And that is why so many remain trapped. They mistake the repetition of words for transformation of being. But energy cannot be tricked. The field cannot be deceived. So the question remains, if affirmations can backfire, how do you create true alignment? The answer lies not in louder words, but in a deeper shift. A shift where words and state finally move as one. And when that happens, everything changes. The more you want it, the more reality whispers back, you don't have it. Have you noticed this cruel paradox? The harder you chase, the further it slips away. You set goals, you write them down every morning, you visualize, you affirm. Yet every night you collapse into the same frustration. Nothing has shifted. Why? Because the field is deaf to begging. It does not respond to craving. It responds only to the vibration of already having. Wanting is a confession. Every time you say, I want, you are silently broadcasting, I lack. And that broadcast is powerful. It creates a loop, a cycle of reaching, grasping, and falling short. You push harder, but the gap only widens. You think you are manifesting, but in truth you are amplifying the absence. Look at the one who runs after money. They hustle, they pray, they try every method. Yet the more they chase, the more distant wealth becomes. Why? Because beneath the actions lies fear. Fear of not enough. Fear of loss. And the field mirrors fear, not fortune. This is the silent trap, the illusion that desire equals power. But desire without alignment is resistance. It is tension, and tension cannot magnetize, it repels. The more you need proof, the more you signal emptiness. The more you cling, the more you push away. Have you felt it, that emotional roller coaster? You set your intention, you feel hopeful for a moment, then nothing happens, and frustration swallows you whole. You try again, you push harder, yet every effort deepens the proof. It's not here. You do not have it. Listen carefully. Wanting is not a doorway to having. Wanting is the lock that keeps the door closed. Because the truth is this, wanting is a signal of absence. Being is the frequency of having. The universe does not read your desperation. It reads your coherence. And if your energy is still vibrating not enough, then not enough is what life continues to reflect. So the question strikes, how do you break free from this cycle? How do you stop vibrating with lack and step into the frequency of fullness? The answer is not in stronger affirmations, not in louder desires. The answer is in shifting your very state, from craving to completeness, from begging to being. And that is the moment everything changes. Because once you understand what being truly means, the chase ends, the fight dissolves, and reality begins to mirror back the truth you finally embody. So, what does being really mean? Let's step into it now. What if I told you that being is not something you say, it's something you are? Think about it. You can repeat words all day long. I am confident, I am rich, I am loved. But the universe does not speak English. It does not read sentences, it reads vibration. And if your vibration is still dripping with lack, then no matter how many times you chant, nothing changes. Being is not a script, it is an energetic identity. It is the invisible signature that radiates from you every second, whether you speak or not. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt someone's presence before they said a single word? That is being. That is identity. That is truth. Now, let me ask you, have you ever met a person who doesn't need to declare, I am confident? You just know. Their energy moves differently. Their eyes, their posture, their silence, all of it carries a vibration you can't deny. This is the proof. Real being requires no explanation. It simply is. And here lies the danger. If you confuse affirmations with embodiment, you live in illusion. You speak, but you do not shift. You perform, but you do not transform. Words are air. Being is frequency. Which one do you think the universe mirrors back? You cannot fake this. You cannot cover emptiness with sentences. You cannot trick the field with noise, because the field listens only to coherence, only to your true energetic identity. So ask yourself, who are you when the words are gone? Who are you in silence? Who are you when nobody is watching? That is the identity the field reflects. That is the being you broadcast. And here's the mystery. Once you stop trying to prove, once you stop needing to say it, the energy finally aligns. You no longer chase confidence, you walk in it. You no longer chase abundance, you live it. And everyone around you feels it without a single word leaving your lips. The universe does not care about what you declare, it cares about what you embody. So let me leave you with this. The universe does not speak English, it reads vibration. And if that's true, then the real question is not what you say, but who you are. So, if words are not enough, how do you shift into the identity that already has everything you desire? Stay with me, because the answer will change the way you see yourself forever. You can fake a smile, you can fake a performance, but you can never fake energy. And this is the brutal truth. Every mask you wear, every false expression you put on, the field cuts straight through it. Because embodiment is not about acting, it is about congruence. It is the perfect harmony between what you think, what you feel, and what you are. When those three are divided, your energy bleeds contradiction. When they are unified, your presence becomes undeniable. Have you ever met someone who pretends to be positive? They laugh, they cheer, they say all the right things, but inside, they are exhausted. Inside, they are collapsing, and you can feel it, can't you? You sense the strain behind the smile. You feel the emptiness behind the eyes. This is the cost of pretending. Psychology calls it emotional labor. The effort it takes to maintain a mask that is not true. And over time, it drains the soul, because pretending forces you to live two lives, the one you show and the one you hide. Embodiment requires no such effort. When you are whole, you do not need to act. You simply radiate. Imagine someone who acts happy all day in front of friends, but goes home and collapses into silence, into emptiness. The outside may fool people for a moment, but the field is never fooled. The universe never responds to the mask. It responds to the vibration underneath. This is why you must understand. You attract not from the words you recite, but from the energy you embody. Every affirmation, every statement, every effort is meaningless if the vibration contradicts it. Words without alignment are powerless. But energy, true, embodied energy, creates worlds. So let me ask you, are you pretending or are you embodying? Do you live in coherence or are you split between what you say and what you feel? The answer matters more than any ritual, more than any technique, more than any declaration, because energy never lies. And here is the turning point. When you stop performing, when you release the mask, when you unify thought, feeling, and being, you become magnetic, you become aligned. You stop chasing, and reality begins chasing you. You attract from the energy you embody, not the words you recite. So the real question is this: what does embodiment actually look like in daily life? Let's step deeper, because the answer is closer than you think. Real confidence does not shout. Real confidence does not beg to be seen. Real confidence is silent, steady, undeniable. But performed confidence, that is a mask. That is the forced smile, the exaggerated tone, the desperate attempt to prove something that deep down you still doubt. And the truth is, the field cannot be fooled. It always reads the vibration beneath the performance. Have you ever noticed the difference? Someone walks into the room and loudly proclaims, "I am successful, I am worthy, I am powerful." Yet something feels off. You sense the effort, you sense the strain, because deep inside, they are not convinced. And when they are not convinced, neither is reality. True alignment needs no announcement. It radiates without effort. The person who knows their worth does not repeat it every morning out of fear. They live it. They breathe it. Every choice, every action, every posture comes from a place of enoughness. And when that is present, others feel it instantly, without a word spoken. This is the secret. Authentic confidence is not about saying, "I deserve." It is about believing it so completely that doubt dissolves. The belief becomes identity. The identity becomes vibration, and the vibration becomes reality. Think about it. A person who is truly wealthy does not declare, "I am rich" every day. Their energy speaks for them. Their actions flow from security. Their emotions rest in abundance. Their choices come from fullness. The declaration is unnecessary because the embodiment is already alive. And here lies the turning point. The moment you stop trying to convince others, the moment you stop trying to convince yourself, is the very moment you step into being. That is the moment the universe mirrors back your wholeness. When you are being, you stop convincing. So ask yourself, are you proving or are you embodying? Are you performing or are you aligned? Because one drains your energy and the other transforms your life. And here's the mystery. Once you fall into alignment, your presence alone does the speaking. You no longer chase recognition. You no longer demand validation. You simply are, and reality cannot resist reflecting it back. So the question becomes unavoidable. How do you shift into this state of pure being? Stay with me, because the path to embodiment is about to unfold. You can dress the part, you can play the role, you can wear the mask of already having, but the field is not fooled, because no matter how polished the act, the universe mirrors only your deepest energetic truth. You may smile, you may flaunt, you may perform wealth, success, or love, but if inside you vibrate fear, if inside you vibrate lack, that is the only broadcast the field receives. This is the unshakable law. Energy cannot be tricked, me. You cannot cover absence with appearance. You cannot bury fear beneath luxury. You cannot disguise emptiness with noise. The universe does not listen to the performance, it listens to the frequency. Think of it this way. Someone buys the designer clothes, they post the glamorous photos, they show the world an image of abundance. But every night, they lie awake worrying about bills, fearing the future, clutching desperately to keep what they have. What vibration do you think the field responds to? Not the picture, not the performance. It responds to fear. It responds to scarcity. And here's the hidden truth. The field doesn't believe your words, it reads your signal. Quantum physics itself echoes this. The field of information is not decoding surface gestures. It reacts to the steady vibration inside you. It is coherence, not costume, that creates reality. So I ask you, what happens when your actions scream, I have, but your energy trembles, I don't? What happens when you pretend to be enough, but inside you still feel like you are not? That is misalignment. That is the split that sabotages manifestation. And you've seen it. The influencer who shines online but radiates emptiness in person. The friend who brags about love but their eyes reveal loneliness. The colleague who shows off wealth, but every choice is made from fear of losing it. The performance may convince the crowd for a moment, but the field never buys the act, because the universe is not fooled by your words, your clothes, your declarations. It mirrors vibration, always vibration. And this is the moment of truth. If your energy and your behavior are not aligned, the field reflects the energy, not the act. So the question burns. What really happens when your behavior says one thing, but your vibration says another? Because when the two are split, the signal becomes incoherent, and incoherence always delays the manifestation. Let's go deeper into the mystery of what happens when your actions and your energy no longer match. You say the words, you take the actions, you perform the rituals, but inside, your energy whispers something very different. This is incoherence. When your behavior declares, I have it, but your vibration confesses, I don't. And the quantum field, receiving two signals at once, doesn't know how to respond. It becomes static, it delays, it waits. Have you ever tuned a radio and heard the signal breaking, cutting, distorted? The voice is there, but it's broken by interference. That is exactly what incoherence looks like in energy. The field cannot catch a clear frequency when what you do and what you feel are out of sync. Think of the person who says, I am ready for love. They smile, they post, they declare their openness. Yet deep inside, they carry the weight of old wounds. Their heart is still closed. Their energy still vibrates fear, mistrust, hesitation. What signal does the field receive? Not readiness. It receives the vibration of not yet. This is the trap. You can trick others, but you can never trick vibration, because the field always chooses energy over words. Always. And here lies the frustration. You affirm, you act, you push forward, but results don't come. You wonder why the delay, why the silence, why the emptiness. The answer is simple but confronting. Your energy is split. Your actions are saying yes, but your vibration is saying no. Confusion in energy creates delay in results. Let that truth sink in. Every time your mind, your heart, and your actions move in different directions, the universe hesitates. It cannot collapse into form when the signal is unstable. It cannot deliver clarity when you are broadcasting contradiction. So the question must be asked, are you truly vibrating already having, or are you only acting like it? Are you embodying, or are you pretending? Because the difference determines everything. And here comes the mystery. When coherence is missing, time drags, manifestation slows, frustration rises. But the moment you unify thought, feeling, and being, the moment the signal becomes one, reality shifts instantly. So how do you tell if you're living in true coherence? How do you know if you're really embodying or just performing? Stay with me, because the answer will reveal whether you are aligned or only acting aligned. You cannot fake frequency. No matter how hard you try, no matter how convincing your act may seem, The field always detects the truth beneath the surface. But here's the revelation. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to pretend to be whole. You don't need to force the image of success, abundance, or love. What you need is alignment. Realignment from the inside out. Because pretending takes effort. It exhausts you. It drains you. You are constantly holding up a mask, constantly managing appearances, constantly hoping no one notices the cracks. But when you shift into true frequency, there is no mask. There is no effort. There is only resonance. Have you noticed? The moment you stop faking, the moment you stop pushing, something changes. Results that never came before suddenly begin to appear. Why? Because for the first time, you are not pretending. You are feeling. You are embodying. You are living from a place of inner wholeness, not outer performance. Think of the one who always tried to look successful. They mimicked the habits, copied the routines, even rehearsed the words of wealthy people. But deep down, they still vibrated fear, still vibrated lack. And so nothing shifted. Until one day they stopped. They released the performance. They allowed themselves to feel peace, to feel enough, to feel whole. And in that surrender, the field finally responded. You don't need to fake being whole, you just need to feel it. Let that truth cut deep. Because it means your work is not about adding more techniques, not about forcing more affirmations, not about playing a bigger role. It's about clearing the noise, cleaning the signal, returning to the vibration that was always within you. So I ask you, are you still straining to look aligned, or have you begun to feel aligned? Are you still chasing the image of success, or are you resting in the frequency of success? The answer determines whether you remain in wanting or step into being. And here's the mystery. Once you stop pretending and start feeling, the shift is instant. The moment you feel whole, reality reflects wholeness. The moment you feel abundant, reality mirrors abundance. You don't force it, you don't chase it, you simply align with it. So the real challenge becomes clear. How do you recognize if you're still vibrating and wanting, even when you think you're aligned? That is the next secret we must uncover. You say you trust, you say it's coming, but then you keep checking again and again. Has it arrived yet? Did they reply? Is there proof? Every glance at the phone, every anxious refresh of the inbox, every restless look at the clock. What is this really saying? It's not faith. It's not alignment. It's the signal of lack. Because if you truly believed, you would rest. You would allow. You would know it's already moving toward you. But the moment you obsessively check, the vibration you send out is crystal clear. It's not here yet. I don't have it. I don't trust it. And the field always mirrors that vibration. Have you ever sent your resume to dozens of companies, then spent every day glued to your email, waiting, worrying, desperate for a response? What energy do you think the field picks up? Not confidence, not readiness, but fear, insecurity, scarcity. And so the reflection you get is delay, silence, rejection. Here's the paradox. In quantum mechanics, observation influences reality. But when observation turns into obsession, the signal scrambles. You are no longer aligning with certainty, you are radiating chaos, and that chaos blocks the flow. Think about it. If you plant a seed and dig it up every single day to see if it's growing, will it ever take root? No. You choke it, you suffocate it. Overchecking destroys the natural unfolding. The same law applies to energy. The more you check, the more you signal it's not here. And that's the trap. You think you are being diligent. You think you are showing commitment. But underneath, the message is lack. The message is mistrust. And that message always echoes back in your reality. So let me ask you, are you trusting or are you chasing? Are you embodying the state of already having, or are you living in the vibration of still waiting? Because every time you overcheck, you step out of being and fall back into wanting. And wanting only creates more wanting. But what about that restless energy, the impatience, the nervousness, the emotional storm when results don't show up on time? That is the next sign you must uncover. One day you're soaring with joy, the next you're drowning in doubt, and all of it depends on whether reality shows you proof. Does this sound familiar? The moment something goes your way, you feel alive, you feel certain, you feel unstoppable. But when silence returns, when results don't appear instantly, your energy collapses, hope vanishes, fear takes over. This is not alignment. This is dependency. Because true being is steady. True identity is anchored. When you rise and fall with external events, it means you are not yet rooted in the vibration of already having. You are still waiting for the outside world to tell you how to feel inside. But here's the danger. Unstable feelings create unstable signals, and unstable signals delay manifestation. Think of a pendulum, back and forth, swinging wildly because it has no center. The more you depend on the swing, the less balance you have. This is your energy when your mood is tied to results. Every yes lifts you, every no crushes you. But the field does not read temporary highs, it reads the instability beneath them. Imagine someone who places their order with the universe. Today, they see a small sign. It feels like progress, so they are ecstatic. Tomorrow, nothing happens, so they spiral into fear. Back and forth, up and down. Can you see the contradiction? That is not the frequency of having. That is the vibration of waiting, of wanting, of uncertainty. And the field mirrors exactly that uncertainty. So I ask you, are you standing firm in identity, or are you riding an emotional roller coaster that never ends? Are you grounded in being, or are you fragile, swayed by every tiny sign? Because alignment does not collapse when results are delayed. Alignment does not panic when silence lingers. Alignment is stable, steady, calm. It knows the outcome is already secured. It does not need proof to feel whole. This is why so many never see their desires realized. They are addicted to evidence. They let the outside dictate the inside. And in doing so, they send a shaky signal to the field, one that says, I don't know who I am yet. But there is another way, a way where your state no longer depends on proof, a way where your energy holds steady, no matter what reality shows you in the moment. So if these swings are signs of wanting, how do you finally step out of them? How do you move from instability into the unshakable state of being? You feel it in your chest, that burning urgency, that voice that screams, I need this now, I can't live without it. And yet, every time desperation takes over, the result slips further away. Why? Because desperation is not alignment. Desperation is the clearest signal of lack. It declares to the field, I don't have it. And the field always responds to what you are being, not what you are begging. Have you noticed? The more you cling, the more it escapes. The more you grasp, the more it slips through your fingers. Because desperation is resistance disguised as desire. It is the vibration of emptiness trying to pull in fullness. And emptiness cannot magnetize abundance. Even your body proves this. When you are desperate, your nervous system floods with stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, chemicals of fear and survival. These signals do not say, I am safe, I am abundant, I am whole. They say, I am lacking, I am threatened, I am incomplete. And the universe mirrors that state with precision. Think of the person who prays every night, please let it happen, please bring it to me. Their words sound hopeful, but inside, panic is rising, anxiety is screaming, fear is vibrating, and the field ignores the words, but it cannot ignore the vibration. What it receives is not faith. It is desperation. Here's the paradox. The very intensity of your wanting becomes the proof that you don't believe. Because if you truly trusted, if you truly embodied, you would not need, you would know. Desperation repels what peace attracts. Let that truth echo, because it reveals the hidden sabotage so many fall into. The more you need it, the more you delay it. The more you panic for proof, the longer proof stays away. Peace attracts because peace is the vibration of having. Desperation repels because desperation is the vibration of not having. So I ask you, are you vibrating peace or are you vibrating panic? Are you standing in being or are you drowning in need? The answer determines why reality has not yet shifted. But there is hope, because once you recognize desperation for what it is, a signal of wanting, you can begin to step out of it. You can release the grasp. You can return to wholeness. So the question becomes urgent. What is the very first step to shift from wanting into being? Stay with me, because that step is closer than you think. Manifestation does not begin with desire. It begins with identity, because you do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. Every result in your life, every circumstance you face, is nothing more than a reflection of the version of yourself you are currently embodying. So the question is not, how do I get it? The real question is, who am I being? Think about it. In quantum physics, every state of being carries its own field of information. Each version of you vibrates on a specific frequency, and that frequency dictates the reality you experience. The poor but trying version of you will always magnetize struggle because that is its signature. The already abundant version of you magnetizes opportunities effortlessly because that is its signature. The universe does not bend to desire, it bends to identity. And this is where so many are trapped. They keep saying, I want abundance, I want love, I want peace. But inside their self-image is, I am lacking, I am searching, I am incomplete. And reality faithfully reflects that identity over and over again. Picture this. One person constantly sees themselves as someone trying to get rich. They hustle, they affirm, they chase, but life continues to give them situations where they must keep trying, never fully arriving. Another person sees themselves as already wealthy. They don't announce it, they don't force it. Their choices, emotions, and posture flow from a sense of completeness, and reality mirrors it back without resistance. This is the secret. Manifestation is not about adding more effort. It is about stepping into the identity of the one who already has what you desire. So ask yourself, how does that version think? How does that version feel? How does that version move through the world? Do they act with fear or with calm certainty? Do they chase or do they choose? Do they doubt or do they simply know? Here is the truth that changes everything. Don't try to get it. Be the version who already has it. Because when you become it, reality cannot resist. It has no choice but to reflect the identity you embody. So the challenge is clear. Stop asking how to grab it. Stop asking how to chase it. Instead, begin shifting into the version of you who already lives it, even in small ways, thoughts, actions, posture, presence. Every shift in identity broadcasts a new vibration. And that raises the next question. If becoming is the key, then how does that version, the one who already has it, actually feel inside? Let's step into that now. You've been told that massive change requires massive effort. That transformation means climbing mountains, breaking yourself down, doing more, forcing harder. But what if the truth is the opposite? What if the greatest leaps in your life are born from the smallest shifts? Because the universe does not need you to move the entire world. It only needs you to align your frequency, to fine-tune your vibration until it resonates perfectly with the reality you desire. And when that signal locks in, the leap is instant. Think of it like a radio. You don't need to rebuild the machine to hear the music. You don't need to fight or scream. All you do is adjust the antenna just slightly until the channel comes in clear. And suddenly the sound is perfect. Your life works the same way. One small shift in how you breathe, one small shift in how you stand, one small shift in the way you think before you act. These are not small. They are everything. Because every micro shift recalibrates your vibration, and the field listens only to vibration. Imagine this. Instead of piling on 10 more manifestation techniques, what if you simply stood taller, as if success already belonged to you? What if you inhaled with the calmness of someone who already made it? What if you moved through your day with the certainty of one who is complete? That is not pretending. That is alignment. And alignment collapses time. Do not underestimate the power of these subtleties. 1 degree of difference changes the entire trajectory of a plane. 1 slight adjustment in your frequency changes the trajectory of your life. Shift the signal, the world will shift with you. That is the law. That is the secret. So ask yourself, what is 1 small shift you can make today? In your posture, in your breathing, in your self-talk, in your choices. Do not wait for proof. Do not wait for circumstances. Begin with the smallest recalibration and watch how quickly the external begins to rearrange. Because the truth is this, it is not the grand effort that creates quantum leaps. It is the consistent alignment of energy. Over and over. Until the signal is so steady, reality has no choice but to reflect it. But behind all of this, beneath every action, every posture, every breath, there is something deeper happening, a silent force moving through you. And that force is the energetic shift of identity itself. Everything begins at the root. And the root of your vibration is not what you say, not what you do, not even what you chase. The root is who you believe you are. Your identity is the core frequency, the nucleus, the silent source that radiates an energetic field around you every second. Just as the center of an atom emits its own force, your self-image emits the vibration that defines your reality. This is why 2 people can speak the same words, I am wealthy, but the field responds differently. One speaks from emptiness, from doubt, from a fragile mask. Their words collapse into static. The other speaks from conviction, from embodiment, from identity. And their frequency hits the field like a tuning fork, clear, steady, undeniable. So let me ask you, who do you truly believe yourself to be? Not the image you project, not the affirmation you repeat, but the identity you carry in silence. Because that is the broadcast the universe responds to. Always. You cannot escape this law. Your identity isn't what you say, it's what you vibrate. Think about it. You can act successful, you can repeat the mantras, you can wear the costume, but if at the core you still identify as someone trying, the field will reflect a reality of endless trying. Identity is the seed, and reality is the harvest. If you don't like the fruit, you must change the seed. And here's the revelation. When identity shifts, energy stabilizes. When you stop being the seeker and start being the one who already has, coherence forms. Your thoughts stop contradicting your feelings. Your feelings stop clashing with your actions. Everything aligns into one unified broadcast, and the field responds to coherence with speed. Desire is weak. Identity is strong. Desire says, I wish. Identity says, I am. And the field collapses reality around I am, faster than any craving could ever summon. So ask yourself right now, are you broadcasting the vibration of wanting or the vibration of being? Are you still locked in the identity of someone chasing, or have you shifted into the identity of someone who already is? Because once identity is redefined, everything changes. The energy no longer wavers. The signal no longer flickers. The field no longer hesitates. When identity is set, the vibration is steady. And when the vibration is steady, manifestation becomes inevitable. But this transformation comes with a cost, because in order to step into the new identity, you must release the old one, and that is the next step. Manifestation does not accelerate because you say more words. It accelerates when every part of you is saying the same thing. This is coherence. The moment your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions stop fighting each other and begin moving as one. That unified state is the frequency the field cannot ignore. Think of an orchestra. When each instrument plays out of sync, the sound is messy, confusing, unpleasant, but when every note harmonizes, the music becomes magnetic. People stop and listen. Energy works the same way. When your inner orchestra is divided, thoughts saying one thing, feelings saying another, actions contradicting both, the frequency collapses into noise. But when everything aligns, the vibration becomes powerful, steady, irresistible. So let me ask you, what happens when you think, I am worthy, but deep down you feel anxious and your actions prove desperation? That is incoherence. That is static. That is the reason manifestation slows down. But when you think, I am worthy, and you feel it in your body and you act from that place of worthiness, then the signal is clear. Then the field reflects it back without delay. Here's the key. Coherence isn't about perfection. It's about agreement. Your mind, your heart, and your behavior don't have to be flawless. They just need to point in the same direction. That agreement creates resonance. That resonance becomes attraction. Imagine someone who embodies peace. Their thoughts are calm, their emotions steady, their actions gentle. You can feel it without them saying a word. Now imagine someone trying to look peaceful while their thoughts race and their heart pounds. Which one does the universe respond to? Not the act, the alignment. Coherence isn't perfection, it's internal agreement. And this is why coherence is the key, because when thoughts, feelings, and actions unite, the broadcast becomes stable. And when the broadcast is stable, reality locks in faster. The quantum field responds instantly to clarity, never to contradiction. So are you living as a divided orchestra, each part playing its own tune? Or are you becoming a symphony, every part of you aligned in harmony? Because once coherence takes hold, manifestation no longer crawls. It accelerates, it collapses timelines, it moves with speed you cannot explain. And that is the power of identity. But stepping into this coherence demands something most people avoid. It demands letting go of the old self. Desire whispers, I want. Identity declares, I am. And the quantum field responds instantly to, I am. Because the universe does not wait for your effort. It does not count the hours you spend visualizing. It does not measure the intensity of your begging. It mirrors coherence. It mirrors alignment. And identity, the state of being, is the strongest signal you can broadcast. Think about it. In quantum physics, a wave of potential collapses the moment focused observation is applied. The scattered possibilities condense into form instantly. Identity functions the same way. When you are scattered and wanting, your energy is diluted, possibilities remain unfocused. But the moment you stand in identity, clear, stable, unwavering, the field collapses into reality without hesitation. This is why results seem to come easily for some people. They are not chasing. They are not trying to get rich. They are already rich in their mind, in their actions, in their vibration. And because they already are, the field has no choice but to mirror that truth. Have you noticed this difference? One person hustles endlessly, declaring, "I will be wealthy someday." But the energy beneath is lack, striving, desperation. Another person moves calmly, choosing, acting, and deciding as though abundance already belongs to them. And without fanfare, opportunities appear, connections form, reality bends. The field doesn't care what you want, it mirrors who you are. Let those words echo, because they reveal the greatest secret of manifestation. Wanting is weak, identity is strong. Wanting delays, identity accelerates. Wanting vibrates with absence, identity vibrates with completion. So, ask yourself, are you broadcasting a wish or are you broadcasting a fact? Are you waiting for proof or are you standing in embodiment? The difference is the difference between delay and collapse, between hoping and having. And here lies the ultimate challenge. To step fully into the new identity, you must release the old one. You cannot be both the seeker and the one who has arrived. You cannot cling to the vibration of lack and expect the field to mirror abundance. This is the threshold, the moment of surrender. The moment you let go of who you were so you can finally embody who you are meant to be. Because identity collapses reality faster than any desire ever could. But to step into that power, you must face the hardest step of all, letting go of the old self. The most difficult thing to release is not the desire, it is not the goal, it is not even the struggle itself. The hardest thing to let go of is the identity you built out of lack. Because for years, maybe even decades, you have lived as the one who tries, the one who hustles, the one who never has enough. That identity became familiar. It became your story. It even became your survival. And now, stepping into abundance means saying goodbye to the very version of you that once kept you alive. But here's the paradox. That old self cannot walk with you into the new vibration. You can't take the identity of scarcity into the frequency of abundance. You can't carry the mindset of fear into the field of freedom. The two do not coexist. Have you felt it? That strange discomfort when life finally begins to shift? A woman who has lived in financial worry her whole life begins to earn more money, and suddenly her mind looks for reasons to panic. She has food, she has savings, she has security, but her nervous system craves the familiar fear. Why? Because her identity is still tied to struggle. This is why letting go feels like death, because in a way it is. You are not just leaving behind circumstances, you are leaving behind a version of you that no longer belongs in the life you are creating. And yet, this is the very threshold of transformation. You can't take the old identity into a new vibration. Let those words strike deep, because this is the truth most people resist. They want the new without releasing the old. They want abundance while clinging to the identity of lack. They want love while holding on to the wounds of loneliness. But the universe cannot collapse reality around contradiction. So I ask you, are you ready to let go of the self who has always wanted? Are you ready to surrender the identity of the struggler, the seeker, the one who survives through scarcity? Because until you do, the new cannot anchor. And here's the invitation. To step into being, you must be willing to enter the unknown. To walk into the space where the old story no longer defines you, and the new story is not yet written. That space feels uncertain, it feels empty, but it is in that very emptiness that the new identity is born. So the question becomes, will you grip the old or will you release it and rise? Because only in surrender can the vibration of being fully unfold. Who are you without the struggle? It is a haunting question. Because the truth is, most people don't fail to manifest because they can't. They fail because they're terrified of what freedom would mean. The ego craves the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. Struggle, lack, conflict, they become comfortable cages. Why? Because they define us. They tell us who we are, and without them, we feel lost. Have you seen it? A person who has battled illness for years suddenly fears recovery because who are they if they are no longer the sick one? Or someone who finally escapes a toxic relationship only to return again and again. Because as twisted as it sounds, the chaos feels safer than the emptiness of freedom. This is the hidden trap. The mind clings to suffering not because it enjoys it, but because it knows it. And the unknown, even when it promises peace, terrifies the ego more than pain. Sometimes we cling to the struggle because it tells us who we are. Let that sink in, because this is why so many sabotage their own breakthroughs. They say they want abundance, but deep inside, they are terrified to release the identity of lack. They say they want love, but they cling to loneliness because it has become their story. They say they want freedom, but they return to the chains because chains are familiar. So I ask you, are you secretly afraid of being free? Are you afraid of who you would become if the problem that has defined you suddenly disappeared? Because that fear is the real block, not the lack of ability, not the lack of worthiness, but the fear of stepping into a self you do not yet know. And yet, this is the doorway. The moment you release the identity tied to struggle, you step into the unknown. And in that unknown lies your true self, the self that is not chained by lack, the self that is not defined by wounds, the self that vibrates as whole, complete, abundant. But here's the challenge. You must be willing to leave behind the false comfort of struggle to embrace the real freedom of being. And that requires courage. The courage to let go of the story, the courage to walk into emptiness. Because only when you drop the old definition can you embody the higher self that has been waiting all along. Surrender. A word that terrifies the ego, but liberates the soul. Because letting go is not giving up, it is not failure, it is not weakness. Letting go is the release of distortion, the shedding of frequencies that never belong to you. It is the return to your original vibration. Think about it. When you fight the current, when you thrash against the water, you sink in exhaustion. But the moment you stop resisting, the moment you surrender, you float. Surrender is not drowning, it is rising. Have you seen it? The person who spends years chasing love, trying, forcing, begging to be chosen, only to meet the right partner when they finally release the desperate need. Why? Because surrender dissolved the false frequency, and what remained was their true resonance, wholeness. And wholeness is irresistible. This is the truth the ego never wants you to know. Surrender is not the end, it is the beginning. Surrender is the bridge between the old self and your true frequency. Feel the weight of those words, because surrender is the crossing point. The old self dies there. The striving, the clinging, the needing, it all dissolves. And what emerges is not emptiness, but clarity. Not loss, but alignment. So I ask you, what are you still gripping? What illusion are you still holding on to, thinking it will keep you safe? Is it the struggle that defined you? The wound that gave you identity? The lack that became your story? Because only when you loosen your grip can you step into being. And here's the paradox. When you stop forcing, life begins to flow. When you stop demanding, the field begins to respond. When you stop pretending to be enough, you remember you always were. This is surrender. It is not passive, it is powerful. It is the portal to coherence. It is the gateway to the self who is no longer bound by wanting, but stabilized in being. So the invitation is clear. Dare to release, dare to let the old dissolve, dare to float. And when you do, when you finally surrender, you step across the bridge. You enter the frequency of your true self. And from that moment, the next step becomes crucial. To anchor this identity, not just with words, but with actions and energy that match. What you seek is not waiting in the future. It is not hiding in some distant tomorrow. It is alive only here, only now. Presence is the portal. The moment you step fully into the now, fear dissolves, doubt collapses, craving loses its grip. Because the only place where creation actually happens is in presence. In the quantum field, time itself is an illusion. Past and future are projections. The only real frequency is the one vibrating in this instant. And if you are lost in regret over yesterday or panic over tomorrow, you are abandoning the only place where your power truly exists. Have you noticed? Someone searching endlessly for peace, yet replaying old wounds in their mind. They think peace is something to find someday, but their attention is stuck in the past. And because of that, they miss the truth that peace was always here, waiting in the present. This is the secret so many overlook. You don't manifest from someday, you manifest from presence. You manifest from the frequency of now. The only place you can manifest from is the now. Presence is your portal to power. Let those words echo inside you, because it means everything you crave, love, freedom, abundance, cannot arrive in a future that never comes. It must be embodied now, felt now, lived now. So let me ask you, where is your awareness? Is it trapped in a future fantasy that keeps running away? Is it tangled in a past story that keeps pulling you back? Or is it here, anchored in the moment where life actually unfolds? Because when you anchor in presence, your vibration stabilizes, your nervous system relaxes, your body stops vibrating with panic and starts resonating with safety. And safety is the foundation of alignment. The field does not respond to force, it responds to coherence. And coherence is only possible when you are here, so do not underestimate this. Presence is not passive, it is power. It is the collapse of all distraction. It is the point where identity locks in and reality bends. And here's the beauty. To access presence, you do not need to strive. You do not need to force. You only need to feel, to breathe, to return your awareness into this very moment again and again until the now becomes your natural state. And once you do, once presence becomes your anchor, you will discover that the frequency you've been chasing was never ahead of you. It was always right here. Now the question becomes, how do we ground this truth into your everyday life so your new frequency never slips away? Your breath is the doorway back to yourself. When the mind races, when fear takes over, when the body vibrates with tension, you don't need 1,000 techniques. You need one thing: to breathe. Because breath is the bridge between body and mind, between chaos and stillness, between the scattered self and the true self. Have you felt it? The shallow, rapid breathing that comes with stress. The way your chest tightens, your heart pounds, your thoughts spiral. In that moment, your body is in survival. Your energy is unstable, your signal is shaky, and the field reflects it back with delay, with resistance. But science confirms what mystics have always known. When you slow the breath, everything shifts. Neuroscience shows that deep, steady breathing calms the sympathetic nervous system, the system of fight, flight, and fear, and activates the parasympathetic system, the state of rest, the state of receive, the state of alignment. Think of it like this. Every inhale draws you back into life. Every exhale grounds you deeper into being. And the slower, the steadier you breathe, the more stable your vibration becomes. When your breath slows, your frequency stabilizes. Let those words pulse inside you because they hold the key to unlocking presence at any moment. You don't need to escape your life. You don't need to fix every detail of reality. All you need is to return to the breath, and the breath will return you to power. Picture someone who begins each morning with 5 minutes of intentional breathing. No phone, no noise, just inhale, exhale. The shift is undeniable. Stress dissolves, anxiety weakens. The energy that once screamed with lack now hums with steadiness, and that steadiness becomes the broadcast the field cannot resist. So ask yourself right now, how are you breathing? Is it fast, shallow, frantic, or is it slow, full, alive? Because in that answer lies the truth of your frequency. And here's the revelation. The path back to presence is never far away. It's as close as your next breath. So the invitation is this: when you feel lost in wanting, when fear rises, when doubt takes over, pause. Place your awareness on the inhale, stretch the exhale, and watch how quickly your body remembers safety. Watch how quickly your energy returns to coherence. Because the moment the breath slows, the vibration aligns. And when you are aligned, you no longer need to do more. You only need to be. And that is the essence of presence itself. The universe speaks loudest when you are silent. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is receptivity. It is the moment when your energy stops pushing, stops forcing, stops reaching, and finally opens to receive. Think about it. In yoga and meditation, it is not always the movement that transforms you. It is the pause, the moment after the posture, the silence after the breath. That is when integration occurs. That is when energy shifts. The stillness between action is the space where alignment anchors. And yet, how often do you run from stillness? How often do you fill the silence with noise, scrolling, speaking, worrying, because silence feels uncomfortable? But here lies the paradox. The very silence you avoid is the space where your true frequency emerges. Imagine this. Someone who has battled constant anxiety, always moving, always planning, always racing, and then 5 minutes of silence. Just sitting, just breathing. At first it feels unbearable, but then peace, calm, a vibration higher than the noise ever allowed. That 5 minutes becomes the reset, the recalibration, the shift into presence. Stillness is where alignment happens, not in noise, not in motion. Let that truth sink into you, because the field does not respond to frantic action. It does not answer chaos. It mirrors coherence. And coherence arises in stillness. When the mind quiets, when the breath steadies, when the body softens, your signal becomes pure. And in that purity, reality collapses with ease. So I ask you, when was the last time you allowed yourself to be silent, not distracted, not performing, not doing, just being? Because in that silence, you will hear the field. In that silence, you will feel the vibration of already. Do not mistake stillness for passivity. Stillness is power. Stillness is choosing to step back from the noise so your energy can stabilize. Stillness is the throne from which your true self radiates. And here is the invitation. Give yourself moments of silence every day. 5 minutes, 3 breaths, a pause between thoughts. And watch how the field begins to shift, not because you demanded it, but because you finally matched it. Because stillness is the ultimate state of receiving. The moment when you stop chasing, stop clinging, stop broadcasting lack, and start resonating as whole. And when you step into that stillness, when you merge fully with presence, you are ready for the final step, anchoring this frequency so it never fades. Wanting feels like action. It feels like forward motion. It feels like desire pulling you closer to what you crave. But energetically, wanting is the opposite. Wanting is absence. Wanting is lack, disguised momentum. Wanting is the signal that shouts again and again, I do not have. This is the trap almost everyone falls into. You affirm, I will have money, I will have success, I will have love. But if the energy beneath those words is fear, worry, loneliness, then the broadcast is not abundance, it is emptiness, and the field, which only listens to vibration, mirrors back exactly what you are sending. Have you noticed it? The person who writes every day, I will be wealthy, yet deep down is haunted by debt and anxiety. Their words say one thing, but their frequency screams another. Or the one who longs for love, praying, begging, pleading for someone to arrive. But their actions, their choices, their state, all emerge from loneliness. And so what do they attract? More loneliness, more reflection of the same vibration. This is the energetic contradiction most never see. They think the words are enough. They think the performance is enough. But the universe does not respond to scripts. It responds to signals. The vibration of wanting is the vibration of not having. Let those words pierce through, because they hold the secret you've been missing. Wanting will never deliver. Wanting will always delay. Wanting is a frequency that cannot collapse into reality because it is defined by absence. So I ask you, what are you broadcasting right now? Is your energy still saying, I want? Is it still pulsing with lack, no matter how many affirmations you recite? Because until you recognize the hidden frequency behind wanting, you will remain stuck in the loop. And here's the truth. You don't break free of the cycle by trying harder. You don't escape by adding more tools, more techniques, more affirmations. You break free by shifting the broadcast, by moving from wanting into being. And that shift begins with honesty, with clarity, with the recognition that what you seek cannot be chased. It can only be embodied. So the question is not, what do I want? The question is, who am I when I already have it? Because once you live from that identity, once you embody that signal, the cycle of wanting ends. And that's where the transformation begins. The movement from absence into presence, the step from desiring into being. Being is not about words. Being is not about repeating scripts. Being is not about convincing yourself through force. Being is a state, a vibration, a deep, undeniable knowing that you already are whole, that you already have, that nothing is missing. When you step into being, something extraordinary happens. Your energy stabilizes. Your actions align naturally. Your words no longer try to get. They flow from fullness. You don't walk into a room begging to be seen. You walk in as someone who already knows they belong. And the field mirrors that back without hesitation. Can you feel the difference? Imagine one person repeating, I am abundant, while secretly trembling with fear of bills. The signal is fractured, the frequency unstable. Now imagine another person who wakes up feeling calm, centered, already secure. They walk, they speak, they choose from that stability. Opportunities meet them without struggle. Why? Because their vibration is not chasing abundance, it is broadcasting abundance. This is the secret. Manifestation is not about what you do, it's about what you are. You don't manifest by doing more, you manifest by being more aligned. Let that echo inside, because this is the end of striving. This is the end of desperate action. This is the end of needing more tools, more hacks, more techniques. Being is the answer you've been searching for all along. Think about it. A person who feels love doesn't beg for love. A person who feels whole doesn't cling to proof. A person who feels abundant doesn't obsess over money. And yet those are the very people life gives more to, because life does not hand gifts to the one who vibrates lack. It reflects the one who radiates fullness. So I ask you now, who are you when you already have it? How do you walk? How do you breathe? How do you choose? Because that is the identity that creates reality, not the seeker, not the struggler, the being. This is the frequency of fulfillment. This is the energy of embodiment. This is the shift from craving into completion. And as you stand in it, as you live in it, as you breathe in it, you collapse the gap between desire and reality. Now, let us weave everything together, clarity, coherence, embodiment, into one simple cycle of transformation, the path from wanting to being. Every shift, every transformation, every collapse of reality into form follows one simple path: clarity, coherence, embodiment. Clarity is the spark. It is the moment you decide what you want and, more importantly, why you want it. Without clarity, your energy scatters. Without clarity, your signal is static. But when you know what you are choosing, when you name it, feel it, and claim it, your vibration begins to sharpen. Then comes coherence. This is where the mind, the heart, and the body come into agreement. Your thoughts say yes, your feelings say yes, your actions say yes. And suddenly the signal is no longer fragmented. It becomes unified, powerful, undeniable. Like an orchestra playing in harmony, the music is irresistible. And finally, embodiment. This is the stage where there is no more waiting, no more asking, no more chasing. You stop asking when will it come, because you are already living as if it has arrived. You eat, you walk, you breathe, you choose as the version who already has. And in that moment, the field has no choice but to reflect your alignment back to you. Can you see it? The person who once trembled with financial fear, clinging, begging, craving, shifts into someone who simply lives abundance. They no longer plead for stability, they embody it. And suddenly opportunities, resources, and synchronicities begin to pour in, not because of new techniques, but because their frequency has changed. You don't need more methods, you need more truth. Let that line sink deep, because this is the essence of manifestation. Not endless tools, not endless practices, but the truth of who you are, lived fully, consistently, unapologetically. So I ask you, where are you now? Are you stuck in clarity without coherence? Are you aligned in thought but fractured in feeling? Are you waiting for reality to prove itself before you embody? Because the power does not lie in waiting. The power lies in becoming. And once you step into embodiment, the shift is complete. No more wanting, no more chasing, no more confusion. You are no longer broadcasting lack, you are radiating wholeness. And wholeness collapses reality faster than any method, any technique, any performance. This is the path: clarity, coherence, embodiment, the cycle of true creation. And now it is time to lock this in, to declare it, to seal this vibration so it anchors into your being forever. The universe does not reward the chase. It does not respond to the hunger. It does not bend for the one who begs. It mirrors only one thing: identity, who you already are. The strongest frequency is not the wish. It is not the plea. It is embodiment. When you are the one who has it, you no longer ask. You no longer ask. You no longer wait. You no longer need proof. You simply live. And the field, without hesitation, reflects that back. Think about it. The truly confident do not shout, "I am confident." They don't rehearse it. They don't force it. They are it. They walk into the room and the room knows. Energy introduces them before words ever do. Now consider the seeker of love. They affirm, "I am attracting love." But deep inside, they still carry the fear of abandonment, the vibration of lack, and so love slips away until the day they shift, until the day they declare, "I am love." And suddenly, the world begins to rearrange. People appear, opportunities arise. The mirror finally reflects the truth of their being. This is why it has never been about chasing, it has never been about convincing, it has never been about someday. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Let that line burn into your awareness, because it is the foundation of every manifestation, every transformation, every quantum leap. The universe does not respond to longing, it responds to vibration, and vibration is not words, vibration is being. So I ask you, who are you right now? Are you still the seeker, waiting for tomorrow to deliver, or are you the one who already is? Because the moment you shift from wanting into being, the gap closes. Reality catches up. The delay disappears. And here's the invitation. Declare it. Not as a hope, not as a trick, but as an identity. Say it now, inside your breath, inside your bones. I already am the one who has it. Feel how those words settle in your chest. Notice how your body responds. This is not imagination. This is calibration. This is embodiment. The universe is not waiting. The shift is not coming. The shift is here. You are the one you always were. And with that, you step into the final truth. Presence, power, being. And this is where we close, for now, because you already are. See you in episode 4. Your voice carries power, not because of the sound alone, but because of the truth it vibrates. When you declare, I already am, you are not simply speaking. You are calibrating your entire energy field. You are tuning every cell, every thought, every beat of your heart to a new frequency. This is not performance. This is alignment. Can you feel it? The difference between words that are hollow and words that are alive. Between repeating a script your subconscious doesn't believe and declaring a truth your body finally recognizes. That difference is everything. Because the universe doesn't move at the sound of empty words, it responds to the vibration underneath. And here's where your declaration becomes transformation. Close your eyes now. Take a deep breath in. Let your chest expand. Let your body soften. Exhale slowly, and when you are ready, speak it. I already am the one who has it. I don't chase it, I live it. Let those words echo not just in your voice, but in your bones. Say it again if you must, not louder, truer. Because every syllable is not just sound, it is signal. And the field is listening. In that moment, notice the shift, the subtle steadiness, the way doubt loosens its grip, the way fear fades. Because the declaration is not about creating something new, it is about remembering what you already are. The power isn't in the words, it's in the truth behind them. That truth is what vibrates. That truth is what magnetizes. That truth is what collapses reality in your favor. And once you taste that, once you declare from alignment, you will never need to beg again. So I ask you, can you stand in this identity now? Can you walk through your day no longer as the seeker, but as the one who already lives the result? Because the moment you choose that, the field has no choice but to respond. This is not magic. This is resonance. This is law. This is vibration reflecting vibration. So declare it, anchor it, embody it. Because once you say it with truth, you no longer have to wait. You already are. And when that identity locks in, reality begins to move. So the only question left is this. After this declaration, what shifts first in your life? Because something will, and it begins the moment you breathe it into being. The shift is not waiting in the distance. It is not hiding in some future you haven't reached yet. The shift is already here. Because the moment you embody it, the field has no choice but to reflect it. When you act as if, when you feel as if, when you live as if, it ceases to be pretending. It becomes being. And the quantum field cannot tell the difference between what you call desire and what you call reality. It only mirrors the frequency you carry right now. That is why so many never see results. They stay in the vibration of someday, always hoping, always waiting, always asking when. But the one who shifts into already, they no longer wait, they live, they breathe, they walk in fulfillment, and their life rearranges to match it. The shift isn't coming, it's already here because you already are. Let that be the final chord ringing in your soul, because this entire journey from wanting to being, from chasing to embodying, has always led to this moment, realizing that you are not separate from what you seek. You are the field, you are the one. And now I invite you, anchor this truth by declaring it publicly. Write it below. I already am. Comment it, claim it, let the world witness your shift. Something happens when you do. It's no longer a thought in your head. It becomes a commitment in the open. I've seen it happen. A man in California once left just 3 words in the comments: "I already am." He told us later that within weeks, the job offer he had been waiting on for months finally arrived. Why? Because in that moment of declaring, his identity tipped. He stopped begging, stopped doubting, and began embodying. His reality followed. So make your declaration. Share your story. This is not about words. It's about the vibration you lock in by speaking them out loud, by typing them into existence. Like this video if it resonated with you. Save it to return to when you forget your power. Share it with someone you love, because together we rise faster. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another step on this journey of becoming. Thank you for choosing this video out of millions. Your presence here is not an accident, it's alignment. Leave a comment, share your reflections, and let's make this channel a place where truth, transformation, and power ripple outward to everyone who needs it. Because remember, the shift is not waiting, the shift is not near, the shift is now, and you are already the one. See you in episode 4.